Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and to the Advanced Cartoon Character Rigging in 3ds Max course. In this lesson, we will cover the squash and stretch rigging for the head bone. The body rigging is complete, but before moving on to the head, let's check the hierarchy of our rig. To do this, let's unhide all head bones and helper elements from the hidden layer so that everything is visible. Once all hidden elements are displayed, select the character's global controller and try scaling it. If all elements scale down and up along with it, the hierarchy is built correctly. But if any parts stay in place or don't change size, be sure to double-check the links. Otherwise, all further work will be in vain. Before starting on the head, we must be 100% sure that the body rig is working correctly. So, let's get started. First, select the head bone, its nub, and the controller, and move them to a separate layer. We are doing this so that the other rig elements don't distract us. They won't be needed right now, so it's better to hide them temporarily. This will make it much easier to focus on the details. Next, create the first controller for the head's squash and stretch, and align it to the main head controller using Shift-A Quick Align. After that, display the character's geometry again to find a convenient place for our controller. To move its shape without shifting the pivot center, use the Effect Pivot Only mode. Finally, be sure to reset the transformations using Reset X Form to fix the position. After that, create a second squash and stretch controller and place it directly above the character's head. Set the shape of the controller to your liking. I will assemble it from 3 circles and combine them into one object using Attach to create a volumetric sphere. Such a controller will be easy to select in the viewport from any angle. Now that we're done with the controllers, let's create a point and align it to the head bone's nub using Alt-A, considering both position and orientation. Let's proceed to linking. First, link the bottom squash controller to the main head controller. After that, relink the head bone itself to the bottom squash controller. Next, link the point to the top controller and link the squash controller itself to the main head controller. After that, double-click the head controller to select the entire hierarchy and apply Freeze Transform to zero out all values. Let's test the result. As we can see, the entire rig we just created follows the head controller perfectly. This means the hierarchy is built correctly. Now, this controller will serve as the global control center for the entire head. Duplicate the point and move it to the side. It's only needed for testing, so we'll link it to the bone itself. Now, assign a LookAt constraint to the head bone and choose the point at the base of the nub as the target. As we can see, the point shifted immediately. This means that when LookAt was activated, the bone automatically changed its orientation. To return the bone to its original position, go to the LookAt settings. First, zero out the view line length. In the Upnode control section, select the LookAt method, and in the Select Upnode field, uncheck World and pick the point at the base of the nub. After that, we will see the bone's orientation return to its original state. Next, apply a position constraint to the head bone's nub, specify the point at the top controller as the target, and test the result. Great, we're done with the stretching. Now let's handle the squashing. For this, we will need an ExposeTM helper object. Create it, align it to the head bone, and then link it to the main head controller. In the Expose Node field, pick the bottom head squash controller, and in the Local Reference node, pick the top one. After that, in the Distance to Reference parameter, we will see the distance value. This is exactly what we will use in our expression to set up the automatic squash. Now select the head bone and go to the Motion panel. There, assign a Scale XYZ controller to the Scale parameter. All necessary preparations are made. Now let's work on the expression itself. Let's start with the Y-axis. Select it and assign a Float Expression controller. Create two variables, global and length. Now go back to the ExposeTM object, copy the current distance value, and paste it into our expression, making sure to replace the comma with a dot so the program recognizes the number correctly. The expression itself, as you can see, is simple. 13.585 times global divided by length. What does it mean? The number is the current distance between the controllers, which we take from ExposeTM. Then we multiply this value by global, the scale of the entire character, and divide it by length, the initial length. This expression allows the bone to dynamically change its size following the controller, maintaining the correct proportions during squash and stretch. Now let's assign the variables. Friends, I made a small mistake here. For the global variable, I accidentally chose the head controller. You should definitely specify the global controller of the entire character, any of the scale axes. I apologize, I must have gotten caught up in another process during recording and lost focus for a moment. The main thing is to fix it in time. For the length variable, select our ExposeTM object and find the distance expose float control parameter. This is exactly what will pass the distance data into our expression. Do the same for the z-axis. To avoid writing everything from scratch, just copy the expression from the y-axis and paste it in the field for the z-axis. In this segment, I made the same mistake again and chose the head controller for the global variable. Make sure you assign the global controller of the character. What exactly is my mistake? At first glance, it might seem that everything works perfectly, but as soon as you start playing with the character's global scale, the head will start behaving incorrectly. The proportions will drift, because the system won't take the overall scale of the scene into account. To avoid this surprise, always link the global variable to the scale of the character's main global controller. Let's set up the bottom squash controller. Previously, one of the Flexi line controllers, which acts as the neck, was linked to the main head controller. Now we need to relink it to the bottom squash controller. Select the Flexi line controller, go to the motion panel, and in the constraint settings, click Add Position Target pointing to our squash controller. After that, the previous target can be removed from the list. Let's test the result. Now, as we can see, the next Flexi line will stretch following the bottom controller when we squash the head. Now the entire system works logically and correctly. We won't link the Flexi line's twist to the squash controller. This is because in the future, we will lock the rotation and scaling of these controllers, leaving only vertical movement along the z-axis. This will make the control cleaner and protect the rig from unwanted deformations. Let's create a separate layer for the head controllers. All subsequent control elements will be sent there. This will significantly simplify the animator's work in the future. If they need to work only on the head, they can display this layer and hide everything else in one click. Also, create a separate layer for the head bone and a hidden layer for helper elements. We have many more objects ahead that will be sent there to keep the scene organized. That's all for today. In the next video, we'll work on the jawbone and synchronize its scale with the overall head squash and stretch. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next video.